Hi, everybody. Welcome to this best practices session, focus on storage as a service. I'm here once again with Benjamin Henry, Field CTO at Komprise. And today we're going to talk about archiving in the STaaS model. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you have in store for us?
Yeah, thanks, Darren. There's a lot of overlap here in these sessions, and sometimes we're revisiting topics because it's really important in your journey to make sure that you start with the analytics. The analytics is what helps you drive and be successful with storage as a service models and making sure that you're keeping your cost in line with what you expect to spend. So first, I'm going to talk about transparent move technology. We're going to jump back into talking a little about right sizing and analytics, setting up a plan, and eventually we're going to talk about recapping with that showback report, which again we talked about before, but this time it's going to be a little bit different because now you're tiering and archiving, so you have something to measure your success by. So transparent move technology, what is that? That is what Komprise is bringing to you to help you seamlessly and transparently move your data around the world to and from object, going from other NAS vendors, whatever you choose as a tiering target. That is what keeps the data accessible to the end users, the application, and it doesn't really look any different to them. In fact, the only thing you're really going to see is a little icon change, which we have here in the slide, which is it goes from the original icon to a little shortcut, just like a shortcut on your desktop. It's signifying that the data has now been, sometimes you call it tiering, externalizing, archiving. The terms are kind of used interchangeably. So that's also probably another term we should cover too, is tiering versus archiving. Sometimes there are traditional archiving tools. Sometimes there's just tiering. Sometimes there's both. And sometimes the terms kind of overlap. So let's kind of define them how we see them. Is a traditional archive is where the data was once available on the primary storage and it's no longer there. And it requires some overhead for somebody to go find the data, make sure it's the data that you want to bring back, and then usually manually bring it back to the end users. We have that option, but with transparent move technology, you don't have to do that. You set the option, move with links, and the data is seamlessly and transparently available once again to the end users and the applications. Let's dive into right sizing. When you venture into the storage as a service area, you typically want to make sure that you're only putting the hot data where it belongs, and sometimes that even enables you to pay for a higher tier storage so that your end users, your colleagues, have better performance with their applications. And sometimes your customers also have their customers that have a better user experience. So let's jump over into our demo here real quick and talk about the analytics-driven approach to tiering and archiving. So we have the data donut right here in front of us. We talked in our last session about how you can use deep analytics. For this part, I'm just going to do a simple time-based policy to tier my data at this site. So I've created a new plan. I'm going to edit this plan. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make sure that the two storage appliances and the 3 shares I have selected, hit save. And then I'm going to turn on the move operation. And within the move operation, I want to set an age. And I'm going to say, move anything that has not been accessed in 1 year or more. And you can see the data donut changed a little bit. I get the purple and white lines that show up to say, this is the data that's eligible to move. And it's actually just over 50%. Well, how can I show that? Well, visually I can see that, but I can also hover over these different pieces of the data donut to see what they account for. So I can move around on the outside to see in this heat map what chunks of data fall into this. But then as a whole, it's actually 51, almost 52% of my data is eligible to be tiered or archived based on this plan right here. Well, how can I get a little more information about it? Again, we went into the deep analytics portion. Let's up level it and get some more broad stroke information about what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to click on my usage tab. And from here, I like to switch over to the files. So this is count by number of files. I can see that video files are the largest file type in all of my storage I have selected in this plan, followed by archive, log, document, presentation, and so on and so forth. I get to see the file sizes and how they're grouped together. I get to see the top owners, the top groups, the top directories, and so on. So there's a lot of information I can use right here to make some really quick decisions. And again, my decision is I'm going to tier anything that hasn't been accessed in 1 year or more. So I have that set. I can choose some exclusions if I want to. I'm going to come down here. I've selected my target. Move with links is turned on. I'm going to hit done editing. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit test or activate. There's a couple different options that you can choose from when you hit advanced, which is, hey, just activate it, go. I want to move it. You can activate and generate a list of everything that's been moved. And then the third one is, I just want to test this. What's going to be eligible? Give me all the information about what is eligible and why it's eligible. Well, right here, I can do that. But in this case, I'm going to activate the plan. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. That's it. That's how simple it can be. So what are some of the biggest challenges that I hear from customers about being able to actually activate that plan? And it's usually pushback. It's concerns of, will my data be available? And that's, again, where the transparent move technology comes in. But one of my recommendations is internally up-level the conversation. Work with your leadership, work with the executives, and leverage the reports from the reporting tab to have the conversations. Get the buy-in at a much higher level to say, hey, here's what we're doing, here's what we're spending. What if we were to pivot this data and make it seamlessly available to all the end user applications? This is how much we can save month over month, year over year. And you can either look at it as cost avoidance or direct savings, depending on what model you have set up. So let's run one of those reports right now. I'm going to go into the showback report. I'm going to filter by shares. I'm going to choose everything at the Boston site. I'm going to hit apply. And then I'm going to say download report. That's going to generate here. It's going to pop up as a PDF. And I'm going to open that PDF. So in the amount of time that I started tiering my data, you can see here, I now have these purple bars under a heat map that we kind of looked like we looked at earlier. So that purple bar represents the amount of data that's already being moved to a much cheaper tier of storage that represents the age of the data. So, and I can also set in all my costs. We talked about that in another session. But in here, this top banner here will actually be updated as you continue to tier data. You'll see more and more savings. It's a simple report that's a couple button clicks, and you can actually present this to leadership to say, again, this is how much we're spending. This is how much we can save. This is what I recommend we do. Get buy-in from the top, put that overarching plan into place, and start achieving your goals. So again, we've gone through, we talked about transparent move technology. We've talked about right sizing, an analytics-driven approach, setting up a plan, activating a plan, and recapping with the report to, one, get buy-in from leadership to be able to do this, but then also, how can you show them your progress and activity to measure your success?
Fantastic. Powerful stuff as always, Benjamin. The role of tiering in a storage as a service model, really, you really made some great points about the importance of a storage agnostic approach. And we look forward to our next topic. We'll keep going. And thanks for everyone for watching.